Hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to give you a rundown of all the books that I read in 2024. So I read a total of 37 books and sadly I didn't hit my reading goal, which was 50 books in the year. To be honest, I wasn't far off. Like, I read more than I thought I would, so I'm happy about it. So I think for 2025 I'm going to try and hit 100. I'm hoping to, because I'm hoping to get a Kindle at some point. Yeah, but these are all the books that I read. Okay, so starting off at the start of 2024, I've got my Goodreads open because most of these books I have at uni, so I'll just put pictures up of the books. But starting off the year, I started off with Binding and Keeping 13, which are the first two books in the Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh, and these are Johnny and Shannon's story. And I just love this series so much. Like, I'm so happy I started it. It's become one of my favourite series that I've been reading. I think there's just like something so different about it than any other series that I've read, because I think the way it touches on like such real life situations, like, and then the characters are just so likeable, and I don't know, there's just something about it. It's just amazing. Like, Chloe Walsh really wrote it really well. It's just so sad when you read about Shannon and Joey's situation, but it's so nice that they were able to kind of find people that love them and would fight for them and love them no matter what, and I just love seeing that play out. And I love Johnny's parents. Johnny's parents are so cute. I really hope we get a book of them and their like romance, because they are so cute. But yeah, definitely worth the read if you are contemplating reading the series or not. I would highly recommend. Like, they're all 800 pages and I didn't even feel like it was 800 pages. It was just so good. Sorry if you can hear noise, the shower's just on at the moment. But continuing, I continued the Chestnut Spring series, so I read Heartless, which is my favourite of the series. I loved it so much. I love the single dad trope, and so Cade Eaton was like perfect, and Willow was just a perfect character as well, and I just love the characters in that series as well. Like, again, like, Boys of Tommen and Chestnut Springs are probably my favourite series that I've read this year, 2024. I was just so invested in them, and I love that I think each series has like 5 books at the moment, and I just love being able to just sit and read a series. So yeah, Heartless, absolutely loved every single minute of it. So Willow, I think, becomes the nanny for Caden's child, and obviously that's kind of how they spark their romance, because I'm pretty sure she stays with them while she's the nanny, I think, from what I remember. But absolutely love it. And then the next book that I read was Powerless in that Chestnut Spring series, which is the 3rd book, which is A Friends to Lovers. And I love A Friends to Lovers, and it was the thickest book in the series because we get to learn about Jasper's past, because Jasper isn't an Eaton, so he's not actually a son of Harvey. He is like an adopted son, because he was best friends with Rhett, I think. I'm pretty sure, yeah, best friends with Rhett. And then he like became like a son and part of the family. So it was kind of his story about his past, and then obviously his love with Sloane, because they've been best friends for years and years. So it was really cute to see that play out, and he's a hockey player, so for me that was like amazing, because I love a hockey romance. So yeah, such a good book as well. And then next I finally read the 3rd book in the Knockmount series, because I had read the 2 ages ago and I just DNF'd the 3rd one, but people were saying to me, you know, continue, it's one of the best ones, it's probably the best of the series. So I kind of just stuck to it and read it, and it actually was my favourite of the series. So I gave it 4 stars. And so Lucian and Sloane are like childhood friends to enemies to lovers. It was kind of one of them. Like, in the other 2 books of the series, you could we had like snippets of them 2 kind of arguing, but like there's like an underlying connection there, and that they just won't touch on. And so their book, it was such a slow burn. It was a bit too much for me at one point, because I was just like, you know, just make up yeah, I just wanted them to be together because it was so obvious they liked each other and loved each other. And yeah, but it was a really good end to the series. I think I have kind of like a like and dislike for the series with things. I don't know, there's just things where I'm like, I think because they're so much older, they're like in the 30s and 40s, and I just feel like some of the way they were acting in the series was a bit immature and a bit childish for like their age. So it's not one of my favourite series that I've read, but I did really enjoy it when I was reading it. But that book was definitely a good end to it. Next, I read the 4th book in the Chestnut Spring series, which is Reckless, and this was my second favourite. So this is Theo and Winter's love story, and it's like a one-night stand, accidental pregnancy trope. So I think in the first book, was it, or the second book, they had met beforehand, and then obviously like Winter was getting a divorce, I think, at this point, or she wasn't in a happy marriage, and obviously they meet kind of for like a one night stand, and then Winter ends up being pregnant and all of that, so it plays out from there. And I just really liked it because I don't like the accidental pregnancy trope at all, but Elsie Silver wrote it so well that I loved it so much, like loved it. It's such a great book. Theo and Winter, love the characters, yeah, good book all around. Next, I then read Saving Six, which is the 3rd book in the Boys of Tummen series. This is the first book of Joey and Aoife's romance, and I love this book so much. I have, obviously, like, I love the series and I love the characters. Aoife is such a strong woman. Like, I don't know how she was able to like put up with that and keep going back. Like, I know she loved Joey so much, and obviously like in that situation you do anything for the person you love, and she just wanted him happy and she just wanted to be with him and she wanted the best for him, and I don't blame her. But yeah, she was such a strong woman for going through all that. Like, there's a lot goes on in that book, a lot. It's so much, but I'm excited to then read Redeeming Six because I haven't even read it yet, but I got it for Christmas, so I'm excited to read it. Okay, next I then read The Idea of You because I saw that it was coming out as a movie on Prime, and I had the book, so I was like, okay, perfect time for me to read it. So I literally read it 2 days before it came out on Prime, and I'm so glad I read the book before I watched the movie because so much changed from the book to movie adaptation, like so much. So I was so happy, and I have to say it was such a good book. Like, I enjoyed it so much. I kind of do like some of the changes they made from book to movie, but I feel like some of the stuff from the book should have been kept in, like the fact of, obviously the daughter is a fan of August Moon, is it? Yeah, so her daughter is obviously a fan of August Moon and a fan of Hayes, which is the guy that Sloane ends up seeing from the band. And I feel like that situation of her being so young and being so in love with him, and then finding out her mom obviously was with him, blah blah blah, I feel like they should have kept that in because then that was more of a justification as to why she wanted to end it in the movie. But anyway, I'm just going from the book. Loved the book so much. The ending for me was just so sad. I did not expect it at all, because then watching the movie it's so different. But yeah, I was sad that it ended that way, but in a way, you know, you understand why it ended like that. I really enjoyed reading it. Then read Hopeless, which is the last book in the Chestnut Spring series, and this wasn't my favourite. I did enjoy it though. It was the thinnest book of the series. I did enjoy it, but I didn't. I don't know, I just think that other books were just, I preferred the storylines and I preferred the characters in the books. Yeah, it was still good, but this one was kind of like a age gap trope by what I remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because Beau is a lot older than Bailey. But again, did enjoy it, and I feel like it was a good round off for the series. Like, that was the last book in the series, and I was sad to kind of round that series up because I enjoyed it so much, and it was, yeah, such a good series to read, so I definitely recommend it. Like, 5-star series for me. I then read The Devil Wears Black, which is by LJ Shen, and I did really enjoy this. I didn't At the start I wasn't sure if I would or not, because obviously it's a second chance romance and I'm always iffy about if I will like that trope, or not. And so this is kind of a second chance, and I wasn't that keen on the storyline, and especially Chase, because he just came across as a bit of an asshole and I just didn't like it. But as like the book progressed on, I did enjoy it, and I think there was a lot of character growth from him, and yeah, all in all it was a good book. The next book I read was The Switch by Beth O'Leary, and this was again just an easy read, likeable characters. Gave it 3-star. Like, if it's just a book that I enjoyed reading, I always just give it 3-star, because like nothing, like it was nothing life-changing, and it's not one that I would go back and reread. It's just one that I did enjoy in the time that I read it. So this one, so the characters in it, the granddaughter and the grandma switch places, so they can kind of experience something new. And so from there, like, the granddaughter meets someone and all that. Yeah, it's just a cute romance. And then I read The Paris Apartment, which was really, really good. So I had bought it and I just didn't know whether or not I was going to read it or not, but my friend had read it and she said it was really good, so I ended up reading it and I really loved it. It was such a good book. I did not expect the plot twist at the end. Like, that was what I think gave it a 4-star for me, was the plot twist at the end, because I did not expect it at all. And I love the fact that it was such short chapters. Like, I love when a book has short chapters, and this was perfect, especially for a thriller. Yeah, all in all it was a good book. So the book is, this girl ends up going to France to see her brother, who has like a bit of a villa, no, an apartment, and things are just kind of sketchy from the offset. So when she gets there, he's not there, and you know, she's kind of wondering where he's gone, so she starts asking people in the building where he is, and no one can kind of give her like a straight answer. So she's trying to find where her brother is, and it's just like that unfolding from there, her trying to find a brother and all that stuff. But it was really, really good. I highly recommend. There's King of Greed in the King of Sin series, which is the 3rd book in that series by Anna Huang, and I really wanted to like this book. I really did, and I know it's a lot of people's favourites from the series so far, but I just didn't. And I think because it is a second chance romance and all that stuff, I just didn't like the fact that we had that their relationship made out to be, he basically has neglected their marriage for like 10 years and he didn't realise he was doing anything wrong, and then he misses their 10-year anniversary. And yeah, it's just, from like, for me, I don't think there was enough grovelling. Like, I feel like he needed to grovel more because of how long he had gone with neglecting the relationship, and how long he had not even realised he was doing anything, and not even realised he had upset her. Like, I don't know, just for me it was just, it should have taken more for them to have got back together than just her wanting a divorce and then him finally realising what he had actually done. It was just, yeah, I just needed more. I then read All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zepeda, and that was, I think, was it my first book of her? I can't remember, but such a good book. Like, I enjoyed it so much because she does a lot of slow burn romances and they're perfect for me, so I absolutely loved this book so much. It was so good. I think it's a bit of an age gap as well, because I know that the guy in it is a dad, so a bit of a single dad trope as well. But it was amazing, 4-star. I did really enjoy it. I then read The Inmate by Frida McFadden, and this was my first book by her because I'd seen The Housemaid, is it? Or The Housemate? Something like that, by her, like, going viral. And I haven't read that one yet, but I need to. So I kind of wanted to try one of her books out, and I loved The Inmate because I just did not expect everything to play out the way it did. Like, I read it in a day, it was that good. I think enticed me anyway from the blurb. So the girl in it, she is a nurse and she's going to work at a maximum security prison, from what I remember, and one of the inmates is her ex-boyfriend, who she had put in prison years and years ago, so she was kind of nervous about working there in case she bumps into him and stuff. And so yeah, you kind of get like a back and forth, like past and present. So past to what happened and to why he's in prison, and then the present as to like her working at the prison and like potentially bumping into him and like working at the prison and stuff. So it was really good. I just didn't expect everything to play out the way it did, and yeah, it was good. Hi guys, sorry about that cut. Like, it was getting really dark, so I thought it's best to do the rest of the books another day. So this is the rest of the books that I read in 2024. Next book after The Inmate was Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, and I read this around summertime because I had read the Every Summer After, which was one of my favourite books I've ever read. Thought I would read it around summertime because it is a summer book, and I gave it, I think, 3 star. Like, it wasn't my favourite and it wasn't that great. Like, it's not a memorable book, like I don't really remember much from it. Gave it, I think, 3 stars. So her mum owns like a lakeside resort, so she's working there. Will, she knew like 10 years prior, like they spent 24 hours together, never saw each other again, but she still thinks about him and she still wonders what could have been. He then shows up at the resort, and yeah, it's kind of their romance, finding out what happened, why Will didn't then come see her the year after, you know, they still like each other, what's going to happen. But I just didn't get that like engrossed in the book. I don't know, I just didn't, the characters weren't for me, the storyline wasn't for me. I just didn't enjoy it that much. Okay, and the next book is Somebody I Used to Love by Eve Ainsworth, and this one sounded really good. I got it from the works. I did enjoy this storyline and I enjoyed the ending. I think the ending really rounded the book together and really, I think that's what kind of made me like the book more, was how it ended, because I don't think the ending could have been better than what it was. So I gave it 3 star, just because again it was an enjoyable book but not like amazing, like life-changing. Like, I'm not going to think about it that much. Like, I haven't thought about it since I read it, so that's kind of when I know that, you know, it's not worthy of a 4 star. So Will wakes up from a car accident and he still thinks he's dating his childhood girlfriend Gemma, but come to find out they had already broken up, I think 3 years before this accident. But he doesn't remember, he only remembers things from 3 years ago when he was still dating her, so he doesn't know anything that's happened since then. So it's kind of him understanding what happened, what went wrong, why they broke up, and then like you find out what happened and why they broke up as well. And yeah, it was just, it kind of reminded me a bit of Say You Swear. Like, obviously he had amnesia and kind of finding out what happened and all that. But yeah, I think it was a good book. I enjoyed it. 3 star. I definitely would recommend it though. Like, if you want an easy read, definitely give this a shot. But other than that, so after this I then started the Legacy of God series by Rena Kent, which was a bad decision because I should have read Royal Elite series first, because that is the first series, or like the first look at the characters. So the Royal Elite series is about the parents of the people in Legacy of Gods. So when I was in Legacy of Gods, like, there was the parents, and obviously everyone goes on about the parents and their romance, and I was like, oh, I don't even know who these people are. So I definitely read it in the wrong order. So I definitely want to go back and read the Royal Elite series of the parents. So that is something I need to do. But anyway, I started Legacy of God because I saw, can't remember, I think it was God of Fury. I saw people recommending that, and that is an romance. So I kind of was like, oh, I'll just read the rest of the series and get to that book and read that book. So I read the first book in the series, God of Malice, and I did not enjoy it really. I gave it 2 star. I actually gave it 1 star to start with, but then I thought maybe I should give it 2 star. But I did not enjoy this. I didn't enjoy particularly one chapter. I think everyone knows which chapter it is, but I did not enjoy it. It was not for me. I didn't like Killian. I just didn't like him. I didn't mind, is it Gladen? Sorry, but the girl in it, I'm so sorry how to, like, I don't know how to pronounce her name. But yeah, I didn't mind her, but Killian I did not like at all. Like, he just gave me bad vibes, and I just really didn't vibe with that book. So I definitely, like, I DNF'd it at first, and then I continued it, and I thought I'm just gonna get this book over with so then I can read the rest of them. Hopefully that they'll be better than that one, because that one just, yeah, was not a good one at all. I gave it, yeah, 2-star. I think 2-star is generous, because I did give it 1-star to start with. But anyway, the second book in the series is God of Pain. I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed it more than the first. This one was 4-star for me. I just liked the characters. This was Creighton's and Anika's storyline. So she's a mafia princess, like the daughter of a mafia boss, and he of, I think, Aiden King or Adrian King, I don't know, one of them. Not much from it, but I did really enjoy it. 4-star. I gave it 4 stars anyway. I then went totally out of order of this series, and I read God of Fury next, because I think it was just the fact I was reading the series for that book, and as much as I enjoyed the second one, I just had to read the God of Fury one. So that was actually the 5th book in the series, which is Nikolai and Brandon's book. So Nikolai is a son of a mafia family, and then Brandon is Creighton from the second book cousin, I'm pretty sure. It's all confusing, see, because I read it out of order, that I'm like so confused with like who's cousins with who's siblings with who, but that's what I remember. So again, love that book, really good. I gave that one 4-star as well. And then the next book that I read was Just for the Summer, and I read this at summertime, and I loved this book. So this I really enjoyed because I really liked the MMC in it, because he was such a green flag. Like, everything about him was such a green flag. Like, he showed how much he cared for Emma and how much he liked her. Like, I love that. I love when it's healthy and that you can see and he shows that he likes her. And there wasn't anything bad from his side in the book. Like, he throughout the book wanted to make sure Emma was okay, and Emma and that he, like, showed that he cared for her and that she was cared for. Yeah, I just loved it so much. But Emma and her best friend, they're nurses, so they like travel a lot, and then she sees something about Justin online, about how like every person he dates then after they break up finds their soulmate, and she yeah, like similar things happen to her. So then they like message and they're like, oh, maybe we should like date to see if we find our soulmates after. So they were like fake dating to break up anyway, but she then decides to go to a hospital and like work in the same town he is, so that they like all this can happen. Come to find out, the guy that she's like renting like this cottage from is now dating her mum, and her mum is like has been absent pretty much all her life. Throughout childhood her mum wasn't there, and then I think prior to like her mum being with this guy, I don't think she's seen her mum in years. So yeah, it's felt so bad for her. Like, everything that happens in the book is just so sad with Emma and her mum, because you just want her to completely cut her mum off, but she still cares so much about her. Okay, next book I read was God of War, which is the 6th book in the Legacy of God series, and I gave this 4-star. This was really good. So this is Eli and Ava's book. So Eli is brothers with Creighton from the second, and they're like childhood best friends, and she ends up having an accident and not remembering what had happened, and then she like wakes up and she's married to Eli, and she doesn't know how, because last thing she remembered that they were like enemies, and she didn't even like him, and he didn't like her, but she still had a crush on him. So it's kind of her regaining memory and kind of remembering what happened and how she ended up marrying Eli. And yeah, it was a really good book, quite emotional actually, like quite sad, like some of the stuff in it is quite sad, but I did really enjoy it. Like I was really invested in this one. And the next book was Never Lie by Freida McFadden. So this was my second book by her, and this one was so good. I did really enjoy it. I was kind of disappointed at the plot twist though. That's kind of why I gave it 3 star, because like the build up, I was like so excited to know like what the plot twist was, and I was anticipating it so much. But then when it actually came, because I had kind of like a thought and vision of what I thought the plot twist was going to be, that I was kind of disappointed that it was something else. And then it was something that I like totally didn't think about, but it just wasn't there. Like the inmate was so good. This is about, oh, got a hair on there. This is about Tricia, I think it's Tricia and Ethan. They're like newlyweds, and they're searching for a house. They end up getting a house that was owned by a psychiatrist who vanished, Dr. Adrian Hale. The psychiatrist had disappeared. No one knows what happened to them, but then they end up having this house that he used to that she used to live at, and then she ends up finding some like old tapes that the doctor had of, because she used to take like her psychiatry sessions with her patients, so she finds them, she ends up listening to them. That's why they get stuck in a storm, so they have to stay at the house. That's why they're still there. Yeah, they can't leave because they end up being trapped. But it was really good. I did really enjoy it. I think like it was just like such a crazy storyline, and the plot twist I was just shocked by. Freida McFadden really does some good books. Like I really need to read The Housemaid because the movie's coming out, and I really want to read that book because I know it's really good. And I think there's like a second book of that one as well. Okay, so next book I read was Done and Dusted by Layla Sage, and this was a cowboy romance because I love a cowboy romance. Like that is my thing to read these days. I love a cowboy. And I gave it 5 stars. So this is a first book in a series. So Emma in the book, she is like a professional horse rider, I think, but she ends up having like an injury and coming back home, but she doesn't tell like her family what actually happened and that she can't exactly ride again because she's scared. So she comes home and like bumps into her brother's best friend Luke, who she's kind of always had a crush on, and he does horse riding lessons at their family's ranch. So then he kind of finds out what happened with her and helps her like ride a horse again, and yeah, everything just plays out from there. Like him helping her, like she confides in him about her injury and what happened to her, and he helps her, and yeah, it's just really cute. Okay, so the next 2 books are just like basically smut books, because I read The Dare like I think 2 years ago, and that was just basically, yeah, like every scene is a spicy scene, like it's just a spicy book basically. So I then thought I would read the next 2 books in the series, and Loser Part 1, Loser Part 2. So basically the outline of the story is she was like a really popular cheerleader in high school. She bullied like this group of guys, and then in The Dare they're at a house party and they're playing like beer pong, and like the loser has to do a dare from the other person, so she's playing against this guy that she used to bully, and so it kind of like gets spicy, and then his best friends get involved, and yeah, that was a whole thing. So then the Loser Part 1 and Part 2 is about her then seeing this group of guys again and then realizing she likes them and kind of having like relationships with them and being intimate with them all. Yeah, if you like that. I think there's 4 of them. Yeah, I think there's 4 of them, so they're all kind of in relationships with each other. I know that 2 of them are actually like in a proper relationship, 2 of the guys, but then the rest of them kind of, you know, are with each other, and then she kind of participates as well. Yeah, I definitely would give them a read. Next is Kiss and Break Up by Ella Fields, and this was a first book in a series called Magnolia Cove. So it's because I saw a quote on TikTok of the second book and I didn't realise it was a series, so I thought best read the first book in the series. So this was a good book, but like sad to read. Like it was heartbreaking. No, yeah, heartbreaking as well. Like the betrayal in it, I was like, yeah, it was a good book. I gave it 3 star. So I was just reading what it said on Goodreads because I didn't write a review. Basically just, so they're in high school and the best friends, they kiss, she's dating someone else while she's kissing her best friend, and then things happen, jealousy, betrayal, like it's a lot, but it was really good. And then the next one in the series is Forever and Never, and I gave this one 3 stars as well because it was good. So the girl in this one is kind of wanted by this guy, like he's fancied her for ages and tries to pursue her, and then kind of when they're finally like getting together, he then finds out he's going to be a dad at 18. So then it's kind of spoken that they're not going to get together now because he's going to be a dad. So then she kind of goes away to college, but then when she comes back, yeah, it's kind of just like their back and forth of like their relationship with jealousy and betrayal in between. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's a really good book. Next, I then read Wild Love by Elsie Silver, and this is one of her other series that she's just brought out. So this is Rose Hill series. It was Ford's book, and he is like a world billionaire now, but he kind of goes back to town, and then the girl in it, Rosie, she comes back into their town because Ford's best friend is her brother, so she comes back because she had been in the city for like 10 years, like she hasn't come back at all, and it's been 10 years since they've seen each other because they're like childhood friends. So she comes back, and then they kind of don't realise how much they actually really did like each other and how much they missed each other. So it's kind of them hanging out and like realising that they still like each other even 10 years later, after everything that each other has been through on their own. Like they've come back together and they really do like each other. So it was really cute. I then finished the Shatter Me series, and I'm so sad about that. Like it took me, I think, a year or two to actually finally read the last book in the series because I just didn't want it to end. So finally I read Imagine Me and I loved it. I was just so sad that it ended though, because it was a series that I just was so invested in and I loved so much that I'm just so sad that I've finished it now. But yeah, I loved it. Like Aaron and Julia are just like definition of soulmates basically, because like they were conditioned to forget each other, but then they still made their way back to each other and still ended up being together. Like that to me is a soulmate. And then I just love Kenji as well. Kenji is just like a great character and just a great best friend. Imagine Me, yeah, it took me a while to actually remember what happened because I can't remember the last time I read the 5th book before I read this one. So but once I like got into it and I really enjoyed it, and I liked the ending of it. It was really good. Like I love a dystopian, I love anything dystopian, like Hunger Games, Maze Runner, Divergent, like anything like that. So that's why I love this series so much. Okay, and then I read Swift and Saddled, which is the second book in the series by Layla Sage, the cowboy one. And this was, so in the first one, Emma, this one was her brother Weston's romance, and so he owns like their old house on the ranch, and he wants to like do it up, so he hires an interior designer, and that's when the girl in it comes into it, Ada. So they kind of have a little kiss before they realise like she's working for him, and then it's kind of like a forced proximity type of thing. I gave it 5 stars as well. Like it was just an easy read and a cute read too. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I'm really excited to read the 3rd book. I then read The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zepeda, and this was again a slow burn by her, and I loved it so much because like, she just writes slow burn romances so well. I don't know, like, she just captures it really well. So did really like this one because I had it on my iPad for ages because I downloaded it, but I just never got around to reading it. So finally I did, because I'd read All Roads Lead Here, and then I was like, I might as well read another one by her. So in this one, Vanessa is an assistant for a football player who is known as the Wall of Winnipeg, and she ends up quitting because she doesn't want to work for them anymore, because she just wants to like explore and do her own thing now. So she ends up quitting, but then he comes back and doesn't want her to quit anymore, and so he kind of like proposes a deal to her for her to come back. The slow burn in it was a good slow burn, but yeah, it was really good. I then read this was one that I found at a charity shop as well, and I really enjoyed it. The Pieces of Ourselves by Maggie Harcourt, and this was about a girl, Flora, and a guy, Hal. So Hal like wants to find out about a missing World War I soldier, so he goes to like this hotel and Flora works there, and so he asks her for help, and she helps him out to try and find like who this World War I soldier is and what happened to him, and like if there's any history about him, if there's any documents about him. So it's kind of them just like working together to help him find who this person is, but also then like realizing that they like each other and they like hanging out, and but he does end up finding out who this person is, and it's like such a cute ending, such a great ending. I really enjoyed it. Next I read Fallen by Lauren Kate, and I was so excited to read this book because I had been wanting to read this book for ages, so I finally got around to it and I loved it. Everything about it was just so good. Like, I love the storyline because I love a fantasy, and it was about like angels and like soulmates type of thing, and I love anything to do with that. So yeah, if you've never read it, I definitely give it a go because it is definitely quite an easy book to follow, in my opinion anyway. And then there's also the movie you could watch, and I know that there's a series that they've done, so you could watch the series as well, but I would definitely read the book first if you want to read about that. So Lucy ends up going to like this boarding school because in her last school she ends up in like an accident where there was a fire and like this boy died, so then her parents ship her off to this boarding school for like troubled teens, and she ends up meeting this guy called Daniel, and she kind of has a feeling that she knows him and she's like met him before, but she can't figure out where from. So it's kind of you following along with that as to like, do they know each other, do they not, how do they know each other? So it's a really good. Went back and read the 4th book in the Legacy of God series by Rena Kent, which is God of Ruin, and this was Landon and Mia's book. So Nikolai from God of Fury, this is his sister's romance. So she is actually mute, so she like communicates through sign language. So it's kind of, this book is really good because Landon like takes an interest in her and kind of like wants to figure out, you know, what she's about, and she's very much a like outgoing, confident person. So, and also like being mute as well is a bit of a mystery, like finding out what exactly happened to her. So I really enjoyed it, but I was really sad like finding out what happened to her and like why she's not like that, and like the betrayal of it was really sad to read. But I did really enjoy it. Like, I enjoyed it more than I thought I did because it took me a while to actually get around to reading this book, because I didn't like Landon in any of the other books. Like, he was such an asshole that I just was like, don't think I want to read his book. But actually reading it, I actually do like him. Like, I think reading his book made me like him more than I thought. But I still need to read God of Wrath, which is Jeremy and Cecilia's book. But I started it, but I just don't know, like I DNF'd it and I just can't seem to get into it, and I don't know why. Like, it takes a lot for me to like DNF a book, but I feel like I do need to give it another shot. I then started the Miles High Club, which is a like billionaire romance. So I've read the first book, which is The Stopover, and this was about a girl who meets a guy when she like gets upgraded to I think first class or business class, and they kind of have like a one night stand because they have to like stop over somewhere because of like a storm. And then she then goes for like this job interview in New York, and it turns out the company that she's working for is his company, and they end up like seeing each other again, and he like they still like each other, like, they still think about each other. And then obviously now she's working for his company, it's kind of like, oh, something might happen, something might not. So that was really good. I have started the second one, so I need to continue that. And then last book I read of the year, I do have with me, but it's not here right now, it's on my bookshelf, but I read Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey because it was a Christmas book and I wanted to read it throughout Christmas because I didn't have that much time in December to read. So I thought if I'm reading like just a book, just a Christmas book, then it's, if I had read like maybe, I don't know, like the King of Sloth book or any other book, it's one that I want to actually sit down and have time to actually read and like get into. Whereas like this book, I was like, oh, I can read it throughout the month, if I, well, like when I'm busy and when I'm free I can actually read it. And obviously I wanted to get like in the Christmas mood, so I read Wreck the Halls and it was a good book. I gave it 3-star. So these two people, so at 16 they meet, their mums were in a band together, but that band like broke up years and years ago, and they meet when they were 16 to do like a documentary about the mum, like their mums in this band. And then they don't see each other for I think 13 or 15 years. They don't see each other until the guy is getting blackmailed by someone for money, and then he then realizes like a way for him to get money for this guy is to do like a reunion of him and the girls' mums, like do like one last concert type of thing. So he gets in touch with this girl and they end up meeting, and then yeah, it's kind of them trying to set up their mums to do one last concert together so he then can get this money for to pay off his blackmail. And yeah, it's them realising that they still like each other because they liked each other when they were 16 but never saw each other again. So it's kind of them, their romance blossoming, and then she finds out why he's getting blackmailed. And yeah, it was a pretty good book. Like the plot of it was really good, and I really like Tessa Bailey's books. Even though it's third person, like I still really enjoy her books. They're all the books that I read in 2024. Let me know if you've read any of them and if any of them are your favourite. Yeah, leave a comment down below, and thank you for watching the video. Hope you have a great rest of your day, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is. And my socials will be in the description below, so follow me on anything. I post a lot on TikTok, so if you wanna follow me there, then that's completely fine. And then also subscribe here because I'm hoping to do more videos. Yeah, see you in the next video. Bye guys.